There is a gateway that opens every night, and most people never walk through it. In the final moments before you fall asleep, your mind enters a sacred threshold. You are no longer fully here, but not yet gone. This twilight state, where thought becomes dream and reality begins to bend, is not just a transition into sleep. It is a doorway into creation. Most people treat sleep as an ending, a shutdown, a necessary escape from the chaos of the waking world. But for those who understand the nature of reality, sleep is something else entirely. It's a tool, a ritual, a launchpad into parallel timelines. And the way you fall asleep, the thoughts you carry, the emotions you linger in, the identity you embody, becomes the frequency that programs your entire field while your body rests. If you do this consciously, you shift timelines, you rewire your subconscious, you begin to experience a new version of reality without effort, without strain, without external force. But if you sleep unconsciously, you reinforce the old story. You repeat the same loop. You drift deeper into the patterns you swore you'd leave behind. Not because you lack discipline, but because you've missed the moment of maximum power. That moment is the seconds before sleep, and it is the most potent time of the day to shift your reality. Let's go deeper. As you prepare for sleep, your brain undergoes a dramatic change. It begins to slow down, from the active, alert beta waves of daytime thought to the more relaxed, intuitive alpha waves, and finally into the mysterious, dream-soaked frequency of theta. Theta is not ordinary consciousness. It is the realm of the subconscious, the inner sanctum where identity is shaped, beliefs are formed, and timelines are selected. In this state, the walls between logic and feeling dissolve. You are no longer filtering reality through what you think is possible. You are open, receptive, impressionable. The ideas you entertain here are not evaluated, they are absorbed. This is why the moments before sleep are not just powerful, they are sacred. Your subconscious is the command center of your reality. It controls more than your habits and your reactions. It controls the energetic signature you emit. It determines how you interpret the world, how you see yourself, what you attract, and what you unconsciously repel. And yet it is almost entirely inaccessible during the day. That's what makes this moment, the transition into theta, so rare and so important. You are slipping out of control and into creation. This is the moment when the conscious mind, with all its doubts, judgments, and limitations, begins to fade. The critical voice quiets, the resistance softens, and in its place is something deeper, something pure, a direct channel between your awareness and the infinite field of possibility. What you feed your mind in these last moments becomes the code that runs while you sleep. And while you sleep, that code doesn't sit idle. It broadcasts. The frequency you fall asleep in becomes the tone of your vibration all night long. It loops, it programs, it aligns. This is not philosophy. This is science. Your dominant emotional state is a frequency, a signal that interacts with the quantum field. Your reality is not static. It is always responding to your signal. And during sleep, when your thoughts are offline and your subconscious is wide open, the signal you planted just before sleep becomes your dominant broadcast. It's as if you handed the universe a script and then went to sleep while it rehearsed the next day of your life. Most people handed a script of worry, self-doubt, replayed conversations, and unresolved fears. And they wonder why nothing changes. They fall asleep thinking about what went wrong, about what they lack, about who disappointed them, about how far away their dream still feels. And their subconscious absorbs it all, not as commentary, but as instruction. The mind doesn't sleep, it simmers, and the state you enter sleep in becomes the momentum you carry into the next day and the next timeline. But what if you fell asleep in a different state? What if instead of drifting off in survival mode, you allowed yourself to dissolve into the frequency of your desired reality? What if you deliberately fed your subconscious a new story? one of abundance, wholeness, peace, and embodiment. What if you gave your mind a new identity to hold on to while your conscious self went still? This is where everything changes. Neville Goddard, one of the most prolific metaphysical teachers of the last century, taught that the moments just before sleep are when you plant the seeds of your reality. He called it the state akin to sleep, a place between worlds where your imagination becomes the creative force of your life. He taught that by imagining a scene of your desired life as if it had already happened and falling asleep in that feeling, your outer world would begin to shift to match it. Not eventually, not theoretically, but inevitably. He was not alone in this. Across mystery schools, esoteric traditions, and now modern neuroscience, this liminal space is understood to be a gateway, a point of intersection between the physical and the metaphysical, a softening of the ego's grip and a return to source. Because in this moment, you are closest to your truth. You are not performing. You are not reacting. You are not scrolling, competing, proving, or controlling. You are surrendering. And in that surrender is a stillness powerful enough to collapse entire timelines and call forth new ones. This is why your last thoughts before sleep matter more than anything you say or do during the day. Because they aren't just thoughts, they are commands. If you fall asleep feeling like your dreams are far away, you tell your subconscious to keep them there. If you fall asleep focused on lack, you encode lack into your energetic field. If you fall asleep worrying about what's missing, you reinforce timelines where those things continue to elude you. But if you fall asleep feeling whole, if you fall asleep already immersed in the feeling of it is done, if you fall asleep embodying the piece of the version of you who already lives your dream, then you send a completely different signal. You shift, not through force, but through frequency, not through effort, but through allowance. You step into a different script, and the field begins to respond accordingly. This is the most effortless form of transformation available. And yet it is also the most overlooked. Because no one taught us that sleep was sacred. No one taught us that the way we enter sleep determines which reality we wake up in. No one taught us that we are writing the next chapter of our lives with the thoughts we fall asleep repeating. But now you know. And now that you know, everything changes. Because the next time you lay your head on the pillow, you'll be holding the most powerful key in your hand. Awareness. You'll remember that this isn't just rest, it's alignment, it's activation, it's entry into the quantum. And as your body relaxes and your thoughts begin to fade, you'll choose to linger in the reality you wish to experience. Not as a wish, but as a frequency. Not as a hope, but as a memory. Not as a dream, but as a decision. And from that point on, you no longer sleep to escape your day. You sleep to program your destiny. Now that you understand the power of the final moments before sleep, what do you actually do with them? This is not the time for wishful thinking. It's not about repeating empty affirmations or visualizing vague outcomes. The pre-sleep window is a precision tool. The way you use it determines whether you continue looping the same patterns or shift into a completely different timeline. You are not just reprogramming your mind before sleep. You are broadcasting a frequency into the quantum field, and that frequency becomes the filter through which your reality is shaped. So the work begins with how you feel, because your emotional state is the most honest signal of your vibration. If you try to script, visualize, or affirm your way into a new reality while still vibrating with self-doubt, fear, or lack, your results will be inconsistent. The subconscious doesn't respond to words alone. It responds to energy. To shift into the version of yourself who already lives the life you desire, you must begin by feeling the way they feel. Not perfectly, not forever, just long enough to initiate the shift. That means slowing down, turning inward, and letting your emotional state rise into something expansive. Before sleep, let yourself touch the frequency of peace, of certainty, of having already arrived. This isn't about faking confidence or pretending everything is perfect. It's about activating the emotional resonance of your chosen self. The best way to do this is through a short felt visualization, not a long guided story, not a mental movie with dozens of details. Just a single imaginal scene, repeated slowly, vividly, with presence. One short moment that implies your desire is already fulfilled. For example, if your desire is freedom, the scene might be you closing your laptop after a day of doing only what you love, leaning back with a satisfied exhale. If your desire is love, maybe it's a single moment of eye contact and laughter with someone who sees you. If your desire is wealth, it might be the feeling of seeing your bank balance after being paid for your gifts. The key is not to intellectualize it, but to feel it. In this moment before sleep, imagination becomes your reality. The body doesn't know the difference. And if you allow yourself to repeat this scene just a few times, deeply immersed in the emotion it brings, you plant a seed in the subconscious that continues to grow overnight. This is what Neville Goddard called living in the end. You don't visualize the steps. You live in the assumption that it's already done, that the moment you're imagining has already unfolded, and you are simply reliving it with gratitude and peace. But even the most vivid visualization will fall flat if you don't prepare the internal space for it. This is why your emotional state matters more than your words. If you go to bed in a reactive state, still charged from arguments, overthinking, scrolling, or stress, your subconscious is too tangled to receive new instructions. That's why the pre-sleep ritual actually begins before you get into bed. Give yourself a few minutes of silence, breathe. Let the day drain out of your nervous system. Don't carry the chaos of the external world into the most sensitive internal moment of your day. Many people unconsciously sabotage their timeline shifts by flooding their mind with noise before bed, checking their phones, watching chaotic content, revisiting past regrets, making mental to-do lists. Every one of these habits reinforces the frequency of distraction, fear, or survival. To shift realities, you must create space for something new to enter. So as the day closes, protect your energy like it's sacred, because it is. Once the mind is quiet and the heart is open, you begin the imprinting process. This is where the subconscious receives its new instructions, not as external commands, but as internal identity. You do not say, "I want to be confident." You say, "I am someone who speaks with clarity and power." You do not say, "I hope to be abundant." You say, "I am already supported by the energy of abundance." Your words should not describe a desire. They should describe a version of you that already exists. The subconscious is literal. It does not respond to future tense. It responds to declarations of identity. So speak in the now. Speak as if the shift has already happened. Your language is not just affirmation, it is vibration. And when spoken just before sleep, it settles into the soil of your being. You are not trying to convince yourself. You are remembering, this is who I am. This is what is true now. This is the energy I carry into my rest. There is power in repetition, but only when it's saturated with belief. A single, slow, heartfelt declaration is worth more than 100 rushed mantras. As you lie in bed, keep your body still and relaxed, and let a few chosen phrases rise from within. I am already free. I walk through life as my true self. Everything I need is already here. I am one with the version of me who thrives. Let each phrase land. Let it echo, and then go silent. Let your field do the rest. This is how you dissolve old patterns, not by fighting them, but by replacing them with new blueprints in the only place that matters, the subconscious. And there is no more fertile ground for these blueprints than the moment just before you fall asleep. The shift may not happen overnight, but you will feel the subtle changes immediately. Your dreams will change. Your thoughts will change. your perception of yourself will begin to dissolve and rebuild. Not because you forced anything, but because you allowed something truer to emerge. You are not asleep when you do this. You are more awake than ever. This is not a nighttime routine. This is quantum surgery. This is not positive thinking. This is the energetic blueprint of a new reality. And once your subconscious accepts it, your outer world will bend to match. There are moments in life when the path shifts, quietly, without fanfare, not because the world changed, but because you did. And the moment before sleep is one of them. It's the most overlooked moment of power in your entire day. The door that opens without sound. The threshold that asks only one thing. Will you bring the past with you, or will you leave it behind? Because when your head touches the pillow, something sacred happens. You are no longer being watched, measured, judged. You are no longer expected to be anything for anyone. You are not in performance. You are not in motion. You are still. And in that stillness, you are given access to something that is not available when you are awake. A deeper intelligence, a memory older than thought, a signal from your original self, the one who remembers what you came here to do. This is not a bedtime story. This is a return to authorship. You are not here to live on autopilot. You are not here to keep reliving a reality you've outgrown. You are here to claim your power. And it begins the moment you stop treating sleep as escape and start treating it as entry. Because right now, while most of the world drifts unconsciously into another night of repetition, you are awake. Awake to the mechanics of creation. Awake to the responsibility of your own frequency. Awake to the stunning truth that what you think, feel, and become in the final moments of your day does not disappear into the dark. It expands into the field, calling forth a new world in response. And that world is listening, not to your words, but to your signal, not to your effort, but to your alignment. This is the point most people miss. They keep trying to build their future in the daylight, in the noise, in the doubt, in the pressure. But the real future, the one that bends timelines, the one that activates dormant gifts, the one that shifts everything in a single ripple, that future is built in silence, in stillness, in the space between thoughts, right before sleep. This is when the subconscious is unguarded. This is when the body begins to surrender. This is when the masks fall. And this is when the door to the quantum opens, just a crack, asking nothing of you but honesty, not perfection, just willingness, just presence. What would happen if you brought your entire being into that moment? Not with force, but with remembrance. Not with desperation, but with devotion. What would happen if you fell asleep as the version of you who was already free? The world would shift. It would have to. Because the field doesn't respond to potential, it responds to identity. And your identity is not a personality trait. It is a frequency. It is a declaration. It is the truth you allow yourself to embody when no one else is watching. And that truth, if held for just a few minutes before sleep, begins to reconstruct your reality in ways you cannot yet imagine. You are not behind. You are not broken. You are not late. You are at the edge. And this moment, this night, can be the one that tips everything. Because now you know. Now you understand what few people are ever taught. That you don't shift your life by pushing through the day. You shift it by choosing who you are before you fall asleep. You do not have to get this perfect. You do not have to clear every doubt. You only have to remember. That's all this is. Memory. The memory of your highest self. The one who already lives in peace, in power, in purpose. The one who has never left you. The one who walks through your imagination like a guide, waiting for the moment you choose to believe them again. That version of you is not waiting on the other side of success. They are here, in this room, in this breath, in this heartbeat. And every time you choose their energy, their steadiness, their clarity, their courage, you shorten the distance between worlds. There is nothing random about this. There is nothing accidental about the life you are creating, and you are not the exception. You are the rule. You are the reason these truths exist. You are the one this knowledge was meant for. Because when you understand this, something radical happens. You stop looking for signs. You become the sign. You stop waiting for confirmation. You become confirmation. You stop asking if your dream is possible. You realize it's already alive, and it's waiting for you to rise and meet it. And the rising doesn't begin with action. It begins with alignment. Right now, you carry all the tools you need. You don't have to search anymore. You've been handed the key, the most potent, private, overlooked tool in the human experience. The moment before sleep, the last few minutes before you fall away from the noise and into your field. The final heartbeat of the day when the question becomes clear: who am I becoming? You know what the world looks like when you fall asleep as your past self. You've seen that timeline, lived it, you've worn the weight of it long enough. But now, the script is in your hands, and tonight you choose what it says. This is not about belief anymore. It's about decision. Decision is what collapses the field. Decision is what generates momentum. Decision is what tells your subconscious, this is who we are now. And the most powerful decision you can make is not in the morning when the world is loud, but in the quiet moment before sleep, when the universe is listening. So tonight when you close your eyes, do it on purpose. Tonight when you exhale, release the version of you who no longer fits. Tonight when you speak, say something beautiful to yourself. Not because you're trying to manifest, but because you're remembering who you've always been. Let your last thoughts be sacred. Let your last emotions be chosen. Let your last breath before sleep be a bridge, not to escape, but to ascend. And when your body finally lets go and your mind drifts into that deep open space, let it carry something new with it. Let it carry you. Not the old self, not the survival self, but the one who is finally ready, the one who is already aligned, the one who is no longer waiting for signs because they have become the signal. This is your night. This is the doorway, and it opens every time you close your eyes. So go now. Not to sleep, but to shift, because your new reality is already dreaming of you.